Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala ma ba'd. Firstly, that was very beautiful, jazakumullah khair. I must confess that I didn't understand the format I was here. I thought I was going to give a lecture, so I came prepared for a lecture, and now we have a sharh of, mashallah, Ibn al-Jawzi, Sayyid al-Khatir, which is much better than anything I would say. FYI, this passage I have translated it in the book that I wrote about dua. It was 25 years ago. I have a book about dua, the weapon of the believer. So this passage of Sayyid al-Khatir is translated in chapter 8, I think, which is about the wisdom of a delayed response. So it's bil ma'na, so you can read it over there, inshallah ta'ala. So to summarize, if you like, so how long do I have? I don't understand the format. This is the I apologize, I don't know the format. So what's the format?
We're going to be asking you questions.
You're going to be asking questions? Okay.
So tell us now your reflection on what you heard today.
So I have, what, 5-10 minutes? So that, okay, bismillah. Okay, so the way we should look at this is actually slightly different than most of us typically understand when we do dua. The fact is, when we make dua, most of us are in one-dimensional mode. What I mean by this is, there's us and there's our dua. And we just want to walk straight till our dua is given to us, okay? We need to break away from 1D and move into firstly 2D, and then inshallah break away for that to get into 3D, okay? What do I mean by all of this? Ibn al-Jawzi kind of summarizes some of what I'm trying to impart here. And that is that we need to stop being so self-centered on just the one aspect of what I'm asking for and I want it. We have to move beyond this and understand that, first and foremost, look at the broader picture. And that is that there is more to making dua than getting the dua answered. There is more to the dua, and there is a wisdom in making dua that is more than just you getting what you want. So, two-dimensional, you begin with yourself. And you start analyzing, what's up with me? Why is it that this dua is taking so long? And Ibn al-Jawzi references a number of these points. First and foremost, ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? What is the impediments in my way and journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? You need to move beyond the selfishness of I want X, because there is a wisdom. Allah is depriving you of X because of a greater good. So what is that greater good? What is that two-dimensional? You begin with yourself. The 2D is yourself. And that is, you situate yourself in this whole paradigm. What's going on here? Am I doing something wrong? Do I have sins that are blocking my dua going up? Do I have haram rizq? Because one of the biggest impediments of dua is haram rizq, right? وَمَطْعَمُهُ حَرَامٌ وَمَشْرَبُهُ حَرَامٌ وَمَأْكُلُهُ حَرَامٌ فَأَنَّى يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُ. The Prophet gave the most eloquent example of a person dying of starvation, traveling in the middle of the desert. He's begging Allah, Ya Rab, Ya Rab. Generally, such a person would elicit compassion from Allah. Generally, you're all alone, you're wandering in the desert, you're lost, you need Allah's help. Then the Prophet added, but hold on a sec. His whole money is haram. He's eating haram, he's drinking haram, he's wearing haram. How does he even think Allah is going to respond to him? So that's a terrifying wake-up call for us. Is my rizq halal? What am I doing wrong in my own analysis of what's going on? Also, a lot of times we're stuck with du'as of this dunya. Oh Allah, I want this job. Oh Allah, I want this degree. And subhanAllah, this is called halal. It's all permissible to ask Allah of this dunya. But maybe, just maybe, we have our priorities wrong. Maybe there are bigger and more important du'as we should be making. What are my priorities? Is it dunya? Is it job? Maybe the passion I'm using to get that particular job is misplaced. There are far more important things I need for myself, and I'm not asking Allah for them. Hidayah, taqwa, maghfirah, ilm, much more easier and guaranteed. So the two-dimensional, you analyze yourself. You see what's going on in my own life. What impediments do I have, right? You also realize, it's still in the 2D right now, we haven't got to 3D. In the 2D, you still realize that, okay, this is a test from Allah. So there is a wisdom in this test. And Allah knows what I don't know. Remember the story of Musa and Khidr. Never forget this beautiful story. 3 incidents, right? In Surah Al-Kahf. 3 incidents. And every one of them, you don't understand the wisdom when it's happening. Every one of them. Why is this happening? The Masakeen were generous. They allowed Musa and Khidr on the boat, and lo and behold, the boat sinks. They would think, we were generous. Why is Allah punishing us this way? Okay? In the second story, where the boy is killed. The boy is killed. And the parents are like, hold on a sec, this what happened? Where out of nowhere some mass murderer came in their perspective and killed the boy. In the third story, the orphans don't have money. And their mother is begging Allah, where's the money? I need money right now. But in all of these stories, they're only looking one-dimensional. They're only looking literally one step ahead. They're not understanding it's 2D. They're not understanding Allah knows and you don't know. Wallahu ya'lam wa antum la ta'lamun. Wa asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum. You might hate something and it's better for you. Wa asa an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrun lakum. You might want something and it is not good for you. Remember the story in the seerah. That hypocrite promised Allah that, oh Allah, I promise you, if you make me rich, you will see me the most generous of all people. And he kept on making dua and he boasted publicly. And then when Allah made him rich, he said, yeah, I don't need to give. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ عَاهَدَ اللَّهَ لَإِنْ آتَانَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ لَنَصَّدَّقَنَّ وَلَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ فَلَمَّا آتَاهُم مِنْ فَضْلِهِ بَخِلُوا بِهِ وَتَوَلَّوْا وَهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. Allah reminds us in Surah At-Tawbah. Literally, Allah reminds us of this incident. There are people who they made a promise to Allah. Ya Allah, you will see. Just give me 1 million. Just make me wealthy. Make me the VP of this company. Make me with this person. And when you're 20 and you make all these promises, then when you get to 30, 40, and Allah has given you all those promises, what happened to all of that? Maybe it's better that promise is not enacted. Maybe it's better, as the hadith in Sahih Bukhari as well, that the Prophet was giving money. And one of the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, why don't you give to so-and-so? فَوَاللَّهِ he's a mu'min. And the Prophet ignored him. Second time ignored him. Third time the Prophet turned to him and said, oh so-and-so, sometimes I don't give money to people even though I love them, because I know that that money will be a temptation for them and it's going to cause them to go astray and they're going to be dragged to hell on their faces. So I don't give them the money for their own mercy, for their own rahmah. This is the Prophet knowing the Sahaba. Imagine, Allah Azza wa Jalla knowing us. Allah knows what is a test and trial for us. Allah knows what is good for us, what isn't good for us. So that's the 2D. And again, a lot can be said here, but time is limited. What is the 3D? Where do we now go even beyond from the 2D to the 3D? The 3D here, what I mean here is the psychology of ibadah. From concentrating on ourselves and our wants and our problems, we now move on to the psychology of ibadah. 3D, we think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is Allah and who are we? What right do I have to demand something from Allah? Have I given even partially the huquq of Allah such that I am now demanding, I want this job, oh Allah, why don't I have it? Have I given a fraction of the huquq of Allah? What gives me the arrogance, the right, the kibr to then say back to Allah, I don't have this, why don't I have it? What have I done in the first place? Who is the Rabb and who is the Marbub? Who is the Hakim? Who is the Allam al-Ghuyub? So three-dimensional, we bring in the psychology of ibadah itself. What is the purpose of dua? The dua is not just because we want X. No, three-dimensional. Dua is the essence of ibadah. There is no act of worship that better demonstrates ibadah than dua. No act of worship. And that's why our Prophet said, Hadith is in Tirmidhi, dua huwa al-ibadah. And also in Abu Dawud, dua mukh al-ibadah. Dua is the quintessential aspect of worship. Why? Because nothing combines between servitude and fear and hope and love and ubudiyyah than you raising your hands and begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something you need. You are implicitly affirming every name and attribute of Allah. Allah is Ghafoor, Allah is Sami', Allah is Basir, Allah is Qawi, Allah is Aziz, Allah knows, Allah hears, Allah loves, Allah can give you. Simply by raising your hands, you're automatically affirming all of this. You're also affirming, I can't do any of those things. That's why I'm asking you, oh Allah, I'm not Sami', I'm not Qawi, I'm not ala kulli shay'in qadir. So dua is the essence of worship. There is no action, not even sajda, because we can do sajda and our minds are thinking about our workplace tomorrow, right? But you cannot do dua that you need. We're not talking about dua that is generic, like parrots memorize. No, dua that you need. Your son is sick, you're failing an exam, you need to pass it, right? Any dua that you need, and you discover the reality of iman. You discover the reality of tawheed. You discover the reality of ubudiyyah. Therefore, three-dimensional, you realize, you know what? The spirit of dua is more important than the actual fulfillment of the dua. To actually be in the mindset of dua, to make dua from the qalb and the qalib, from the inner body and soul. That state, wallahi, is a bigger blessing than any dunyawi blessing that you are asking for. I want to repeat that. Any worldly blessing you're asking for, the state you will reach for a prolonged delay and your iman is going higher and higher, and your ikhlas is going higher and higher, and your tahajjud is increasing, and your relationship with Allah is getting stronger, that state, it is more precious to you and more needed by you than the actual fulfillment of the dua. So if you understand 3D, and stop being so self-centered, this is me, this is my dua. No, break away from that. There are higher maqasid, there are higher goals to the dua than your minuscule, one-dimensional fulfillment of what you want. And of the highest of the maqasid is the idhar of the ubudiyyah, the manifestation of the servitude of the servant in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why Ibn al-Jawzi himself says a very beautiful passage inside somewhere else where he mentions that, and Ibn al-Qayyim also frequently says the same thing. He says that the righteous servants, when they start making dua and it's delayed, they reach a hal, a spiritual state that is more precious to them than the fulfillment of the actual dua. And they begin to appreciate that hal so much so, listen to this, that they secretly wish that the dua is continued to be delayed, because they realize that when the dua is fulfilled, they will lose that hal with Allah. This is the three-dimensional aspect of dua, where we stop being so self-centered and just think about the one aspect of, I want this. Subhanallah, life is more important than this. And your ubudiyyah to Allah is the most important thing. So the three-dimensional, you bring in, who is Allah? What are the names and attributes of Allah? Who exactly am I? What is my relationship with Allah? What am I supposed to be doing here? And if a delayed dua causes you to rethink through all of this, then wallahi, your dua has not only been answered in a better manner, that is the essence of why Allah created you.